Good afternoon, fire friends. My name is still Chef Danger. Welcome back to the Danger Pit. So today I want to talk you guys through my top 10 tips on how to make better barbecue. Now this video is going to be specifically for any new smokers out there who maybe just bought their first smoker or who are considering buying their first smoker. Just little bits of tricks, tips, advice and stuff I've learned over the years that just would have saved me time, money, effort, heartache. With all that in mind though, before we dive into it, I just want to shout out my very first top tier patron supporter. I want to shout out B Rizzle. B Rizzle, your contribution to the Danger Pit project helps me buy wood, meat, the equipment that I need to make better videos, all of that stuff. Genuinely, sincerely, thank you so much to B Rizzle and everybody else who supported the Danger Pit project. So with all that in mind, let's dive straight into it. Bow! Now my first bit of advice to everybody is be prepared. And what I mean in that sense is consider your timings. So I make this mistake still to this day all the time. You've got a 6 kilogram brisket. You know it's going to take 16 hours to finish. Give yourself 24 hours. Start it fully the day before. Give yourself a quarter to a third of that time as an extra buffer, because everything always takes longer than you think it's going to take. And I can guarantee you'll be able to use that time and fill it with something, whether it's making sides, recording videos, having a nap. These are all worthwhile uses of your time. So today, for example, I'm going to be doing a big cook tomorrow. So I'm getting my smoker sorted today. I'm getting my wood chopped now, so that tomorrow all I'm focusing on is just getting food on the pit, getting it cooked and having a nice relaxing time enjoying the cook. Top tip number 2, make sure you're tooled up. And what I mean by that is make sure you've got the following, because you're going to need them when you're doing this. Get yourself a smoker, get yourself a pile of wood, get yourself a cheap hatchet, something to just split down those logs that you've got just to the size you need them when you're cooking. Get yourself a spritz bottle. Now you need to create a moist environment inside your cook chamber to get that real sticky bark on your barbecue, so cheap spritz bottle will do the trick. Get yourself a temperature probe, something which is wired and cabled so that you can run it across your smoker, stab it into your meat, get more than one set of temperature readings, and for God's sake, make sure you've got some spare batteries. The amount of times I've messed up a cook because my batteries have run out when I really needed them. Anyway, that's the basics. This is what you need to get started. Now the following items aren't exactly necessary, but each one of these things is a huge quality of life improvement. So a meat injector, it just adds flavour, adds moisture, keeps your meat nice and juicy. A headlamp, because how many cooks I've done in the dark where just having my phone torch isn't enough. I need to have both my hands free. So a headlamp. Nitrile gloves, the black disposable kind. Partly just, they look good. You're not a real barbecuer unless you got your black gloves on, but also it is a heat barrier, it's sanitary. Sanitation really matters, especially when we're dealing with meat at low temperatures. And this last one's a bit contentious.
Nobody cared who I was until I wore the mask.
So whenever I'm doing a big cook and I've got to get my head all the way inside this cook chamber, I wear a gas mask. It's not very cool looking and it's not very hip, and I imagine there are people rolling their eyes, but if you're going to be barbecuing, and if you're going to do quite a bit of barbecuing, I don't want to be breathing in that particulate. I don't want to get a chest infection, I don't want to get a sinus infection, and you know, it's just common sense to not have all that burning plant matter inside your lungs. Not healthy. Honourable mention to my penknife, because you never know when you need to shank yourself out of a situation. Tip number 3, don't be afraid to experiment with wood. Come and have a look in the Danger Wood store garage room. We've got silver birch, we've got chestnut, I've got a great big pile of oak. This is, oh that's just crap for burning, but still, that counts. As we look over here, I've got olive wood, I've got some maple, I've got some Sakelbos. This is a bag of Rukrans from South Africa. This is Camille Doring. All these different kinds of wood, they've all got a different smell, they all burn differently, they all taste differently, and it's not just like a little slight difference, like they're completely different. They've all got a really unique flavour profile and they all make really interesting, unique barbecues. Have a little bit of an experiment, see what works, because it's really fun. Top tip number 4, get used to how the same piece of wood can have a different property. Now, let me just show you just a big old pile of wood I just got from the store, and let's have a little look and see how each one can be different, even just at a glance. Right, let's have a little looky-loo and see what we're playing with here. So I've got this good split here. Now I can knock this in half and this will be ready for my smoker. It's got no knots or anything that are gonna stop me from splitting it, so that is just great burning wood. This Haggerty knotty piece. Now these knotty pieces where you've got concentration of fat sap inside, these will burn really slowly and really hot. I tend to use these as like a heat deflector. Let me show you what I mean by that. Heat deflector. This was, before it was turned into charcoal, just blocking the heat hitting the meat right off the bat when I need to cram my smoker full. What else we got here? So this one, now this you can't really see, but this came from sort of like the outside of the tree and it's a lot drier. This will go up like a match because it's so dry, because it's so light. Obviously I can't really show that on camera, comparing it to like, I don't know, something like this, which is about the same size. It's about 3 or 4 times the weight. It's got more moisture in it, whereas this one, I'll use this if I need to kick some extra heat in, if I've, you know, fallen asleep and my fire's starting to die down or whatever. This is what I'll use to sort of like bring that one back. What else we got here? Okay, this haggardy gross gnarly piece of wood. To be honest, I see anything like this, I'll probably be fine, but that goes in the burn barrel. Don't need that. And this is just sort of like the bare beginnings, the basics of getting a feel for your wood, which will help you understand your barbecue and where your barbecue comes from. Top tip number 5, preheat your wood in your firebox before you put it on the fire to avoid having that nasty, cold wood, grey, gnarly smoke. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, I've got tucked away inside my firebox this nice preheated bit of wood. If I grab similar size and shape piece from my cold pile and I drop these on, cold wood, preheated wood. Let's see which one ignites first. Oh god! Yep, that preheated one's already ripping hot, firing away, burnt my hand. Whereas this cold one you can see, or I don't know how well you can see, is kind of putting off grey, gnarly. In fact, I'm going to move it because otherwise it's going to mess with the food. But yeah. Reduces temperature fluctuations, stops you getting that gnarly grey smoke. Beautiful. So I've run out of hands, so point 6. Fire is its own thing. Fire has a life of its own. Fire is a living, breathing thing, and we aren't controlling the fire, we're just creating a situation where the fire can exist. Now, I want to show you how I cook and how I've got my smoker set up. Now, this smoker doesn't have an air intake, but if it did, I'd make sure I leave it wide open, and I never have my chimney stack closed. I literally just use this for when it's raining to stop water getting inside my smoker when I'm storing it. Other than that, I want my wood to breathe as naturally and as cleanly as possible. I want nothing obstructing that fire. Don't freak out when your temperatures start fluctuating if you're adding wood, or if you're opening to spritz, or if you're opening to have a look. They say if you're looking, it ain't cooking, and true, but you've got to have a look or you're not going to know how it's doing. And when that happens, or especially when you start your fires and you load your smoker up with meat, all of the heat is being absorbed by all the cold meat. It takes a while for it to get up to temperature. That's just the process. Have faith. Worry about making sure that your fires are nice and clean and they're breathing naturally and they're not smothered, they're not smouldering, and that makes way better barbecue than controlling your temperatures by messing with your dampeners. Just let the fire accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, decelerate. You want to minimize that as much as possible because consistent temperature means consistent cooking, but it's part of the process, it's part of the natural cycle of the fire. Don't be afraid of that, lean into it, and trust me, you'll have much tastier barbecue than if you're messing with it. You're trying to keep your temperatures at steady 275 by closing this flap and opening this flap. All you're doing is you're starving your fire of oxygen and you're creating grey, dirty, gnarly smoke, all those heavy, nasty flavour compounds that you don't really want in your barbecue, which will settle on your meat. Much rather have, like, I mean, look, let me go back and you can see there's barely a whisper coming out of that smokestack. Obviously there is smoke coming out, but because the combustion is so complete, that lovely clean smoke makes lovely clean barbecue. So piece of advice number 7 from me: if you have a local carcass butcher to you, go and make friends with them, because they are a valuable resource in the world of barbecue. Now, if you have like a carcass butcher who breaks down animals, you can get specific cuts that you can't really get online. More to the point, if you want access to like big cuts, like my local butcher used to sort me out half cows and half lambs and things, just because you go in and say hi and tell them what you're about and tell them what you're in for. If you've got a speciality butcher, they're going to be really excited when you tell them you're going to do something really interesting and exciting with their food. You know, you sort them out a bit of barbecue, they may sort you out a little special offer on something exciting when it comes in, they may be keeping in the back for themselves. I once had a butcher offer me a 72-day aged brisket just because he knew I was really interested in meat, and it wasn't very nice. The fact that he offered it was very exciting. They are a wealth of resource or a wealth of knowledge, and if you're interested and you're excited and you want to really understand what you're talking about, they'll teach you, they'll show you, they're happy to learn, and they will go out their way to make sure that you get exactly what you need. Go support your local British butchers, British meat, that matters. My number 8 top tip for new smokers is make your own rubs. Experiment, learn, try new things, try different things. Don't get suckered into the false idol that is a pre-made rub. When you use your own spices, you know how fresh they are. Freshly ground black pepper, fresh paprika, all of these things, they lose their potency after a couple of weeks of being exposed to the air. So by the time it's been sent to a factory and then mixed up with a bunch of improvers, desiccants, rice flour, bulking agents, all this crap, and then rebottled and sent out and it's sat on someone's storefront for 6 months, and it actually gets to your barbecue, it's practically lifeless. Make your own barbecue rubs, make them nice and fresh. The difference is night and day, and this shouldn't be something that people need to learn 6 months to a year down the line. Just start off doing it right. Remember to take responsibility for your own barbecue journey. Point number 9, when to wrap. Now, this is something that I still get wrong, but the core principle is the same. When I first started smoking, I would get my briskets, get my pork shoulders, and I would cook them 10, 12, 14, 16 hours unwrapped.
Okay.
Time is it?
I actually don't know. Feels like 9 in the morning. Chappers, what time is it?
Just because in my head I'm thinking I want that jet black meteorite look, I want like good, real strong bark, but real strong bark doesn't take that long to create, and it doesn't finish before the wrap. I'm going to show you this pork now. 6 hours in, we've got a bit of darkness, we've got a bit of colour on here, but where I'm seeing I've got big patches where I've got cooked but not completely set rub and bark. Now this to me says not yet, and again that just comes from experience. And now we'll have a look at that in another 2 hours time, because from my experience, especially with pork shoulders, 8 hours is the sweet spot. You've seen where it's at 6 hours. Right, let me show you this now that I think it's ready to wrap after 8 hours. Head torch, what a concept. So you can see we've got that nice dark bark on the go. You've got that red colour shining through where the fat's starting to split at the fat cap. And it's not kiss and black all the way around. It's not fully bark develop. But from my experience, that is when peak, perfect, optimal, top tier flavour lives. Yeah. Let's get this wrapped. You want to be looking for just before it starts to turn completely black all over. It doesn't matter if you can see little bits of colour, little striations where the fat started to split, you see a bit of colour. Don't be tempted to just push and push and push and push and push, especially if you're just doing 1 or 2 briskets for the family and you can finish them in the oven. I'm going to have to finish all this in my smoker here because I've got quite a big cook and it won't fit in my tiny oven. But if I was just doing a weekend cook for my friends, to be able to just take this, throw it in the oven, go and grab a shower, grab a couple of hours kip, keep my temperature probe next to me, and it'll beep and wake me up when I hit my 200 degrees internal, which is usually what I'm aiming for. Yeah, absolutely makes heaps of sense, and you don't waste loads of wood unnecessarily as well. I think about the amount of money I've wasted in wood where I've just pushed and pushed and pushed to cook. Big rookie errors cost me hundreds of pounds over the years, so don't be like me, be like you trying to be better or something. Last final piece of advice for any new smokers coming into the scene of wood smoking is you've got a wealth of knowledge online, especially here on YouTube, of passionate people who are really excited and really interested and want to teach everyone how to make amazing barbecue, even if they kind of want to keep, you know, the recipes and stuff secret. Look at these people, look at what they're cooking, try to emulate their cooking while you're getting started. Use their experience to teach you how to intuit your cooking. And what I mean is learning by touch, taste, smell. I can tell when I need to throw another log on my fire because of the grey smoke which comes off. The smell of the smoke tells me that the fire's hungry, it's running out of fuel, I need to keep adding to it. The feel of my smoker and its various hot and cold spots, that intuition just comes from practice, it comes from trying, it comes from experimenting. So I guess my final piece of advice is take all of that information that everybody in there's shared with you and all of these ideas and recipes and stuff that we've stolen and ignore all of it and do your own thing. Learn by doing. Learn to love making mistakes, whether it's in life, whether it's in barbecue. A mistake is just an opportunity that you just kind of need to re-jig your mind around, because making mistakes in barbecue is where we learn ourselves. It's where we learn how our equipment works, how our wood works, how our meat feels and cooks. We learn what we like, what our friends like, what our family likes, and that's ultimately the core of barbecue, is creating something amazing for the people that we love around us. And so ignore all the lost profits, your influencers, your people telling you need expensive kit and expensive rubs to make amazing barbecue, and you need to spend $6 on a giant smoker, and you need to pay for imported this and that. Nope, it's bollocks, because the true barbecue expert is you, and it comes from within. So anyway, with all that in mind, my name's been Chef Danger. Thank you very much for today. It's been a pleasure spending the afternoon with you all. As always, if anybody's got any questions or anything, just put it in the comments below and I'll get back to you guys. Otherwise, you're welcome to come and join us on the Discord. We're always talking about food and Warhammer and barbecue sauce and hot sauce and other stuff. Once again, special thanks to my Patreon supporters, and I will see you guys next time. Ciao!